Ready?
Welcome to our Thursday Rotary Club. Gateway Rotary. Today is March 26th. And we are going to start off with Mary leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance in the four-way pass. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. And our inspiration, Jolie. Yeah, there's no inspiration about food, so I can't do that today. So my inspiration is by W. Clement Stone, and he was a writer for a publication called Success Unlimited that started back in the late 1800s. And this short article that he wrote was done on September 19th, 1958. So be generous. Give to those whom you love. Give to those who love you. Give to the fortunate. Give to the unfortunate. Yes, give especially to those whom you do not want to give. Your most precious valued possessions and your greatest powers are invisible and intangible. No one can take them. You and you alone can give them. You will receive abundance for your giving. The more you give, the more you will have. Give a smile to everyone you meet. Smile with your eyes, and you'll smile and receive smiles. Give a kind word with a kindly thought behind the word, and you will be kind and receive kind words. Give appreciation, warmth from the heart, and you will appreciate being appreciated. Give time for a worthy cause with eagerness. You will be worthy of richly rewards. Give hope, the magic ingredient for success, and you will have hope and be made hopeful. Give happiness, a most treasured state of mind, and you will be happy and be made happy. Give encouragement, the incentive to action, and you will have courage and be encouraged. Give a pleasant response, the neutralizer of irritants, and you will be pleasant and receive pleasant responses. Give prayers, the instrument of miracles, for the godless and the godly. You will be reverent and receive blessings more than you deserve. Thank you. Those are great Rotary concepts that we're all here. We do good to give. I would like to welcome some visiting Rotarians. Dan Converse is here from the Friday group, and Bruce Reese, who is currently our DG, acting DG, and the AG. He's double-hatted. He is here visiting as well today. And then we have Becca Martin, who is on our list to be. He's been approved, but we're going through the process of becoming a member. So thank you. Is there anybody else that I missed? I'm looking for.
Carol Bunn is from the Wednesday Club. Carol Bunn, and she's a guest. She is on a quest to get her purple badge.
Blue badge.
Blue badge.
That's your problem, a blue and a red badge. So if she's got a red badge and she's going to blue, she is in the purple stage. Okay, we have another.
I just want to recognize John Salisbury, my guest. He and his siblings are sponsors of Porch Fest, and he's also going to join our club. So, hi, John. Oh, and we went to kindergarten together.
Oh. Wow. Okay, great. Any cards left? So 4 cards left. So if you haven't yet had the opportunity to buy yourself a card for our 50-50 drawing, there are 4 cards, and Patrice will come around and get those. Okay, so we have a few announcements. I'm going to start off. I think 2 of them were just sold.
T-shirts that say Rotarians at Work. They're back in the back, and I am going to, I think, I got all the dates in April. I'm going to the spring game on April, the last 28th. So I'm hoping that April 23rd, we can do a cleanup. I'm really working on getting that for us so we can go out there and show those off. Doug and I had the opportunity of wearing our bright yellow Rotarian at Work when we were building out of the Parks Department, the trellises to the wedding. That was kind of cool. We also have, so those are back in the back. I think there's 4 medium, 4 large, and 1 extra large left. And those are $15. Those are the bright yellow ones. So there's a sign up list and put your money in the envelope and check by your name if you pre-ordered. So we've got that going. We've also got the Porch Fest t-shirts. So the Porch Fest t-shirts are $10 a piece. They're beautiful blue. I've worn them on my Porch Fest quest for signatures. So those are $10. So if you're interested in buying one of those, Greg and Mary have been back there. Yes, go ahead, Mary. Oh, Packet, that's right, Packet Sky. Thank you. Yes, and he's been actually the one that I've been in contact with, snuck in the back door when I wasn't looking. He did. We got it. Okay, so other date, we have a 4 Club Rotary Social, and I'm sending the email out because I do want an RSVP. It's on Earth Day, April 22nd, which is a Wednesday, I believe, from 4:30 to 6:30 at Tap Rock in the Evergreen Room. And they are asking people to contribute $20 because they are providing the hors d'oeuvres or appetizers there. So set your calendar, April 22nd. I will send out the RSVP link so that you can RSVP so they can know how much food to get for that. That's it, Evergreen Room. Like I said, I'm thinking 23rd of April, we'll do a cleanup. I'm hoping this next president's meeting, I'll have more information. Those of you mark your calendars, Saturday, May 9th is the Rotary track meet, and they are always looking for volunteers from all clubs to help with that. So I will make sure that we have a sign up list with us soon. Oops, sorry, Yoda. Dog, he jumps back up. Okay, and then we have some other people who are here for announcements. So if you are one of the people who said you would like to make an announcement today, please line up and we'll let it go.
Thank you, Valerie. I'm Bruce Reese, the district governor nominee designate. I'm also assistant governor, so that's why I'm here today to support Valerie and your club. And we had a line meeting today, so that's the other fun thing. For the next 7 years, every week I get on a line meeting. But we had a foundation report, and there are, out of the 2,400 members of Rotary District 5110, there are 1,500 that don't give every year, every Rotarian every year. That's $25 to the foundation. So I'm here to promote the foundation and ask that you think about giving. Thank you.
And when he's talking about lying, he's not talking about dancing. He's talking about, hey, wouldn't you like to be the district governor? And then you find out it's a 7-year commitment. Whatever. My name's Dan Converse. I'm with the Greater Kansas Rotary Club on Friday. My main claim to fame is I'm my kid's dad. But I'm okay with that. I'm here to talk briefly about a new event that our club is going to be doing on May 30th. Believe it or not, that is not Votnik weekend. It's the weekend after. And it's going to be a downtown free event for families. It's going to be a trivia trek. And so there's things that we're needing for that. We need raffle prizes, any kind of raffle prizes, but especially if you can find something that's good for younger kids, because we're going to have little kid questions, regular kid questions, and adult questions. And what you're going to get if you get a correct answer is a raffle ticket, and then that'll go into a drawing for these prizes. What we're doing as an experiment this year, our sponsors are the one who are providing the money. It's going to be a free event for families. So we're wanting to get the word out for that. We're also going to be looking for volunteers. I'll be back with more information at a later meeting, but this is spring break, so I have a break. So that's why I'm here to put it on your calendar. And the kind of volunteering, it's going to be from 11 to 2. And we're going to need people at our 20 sites to actually ask the questions and give out the ticket or the raffle tickets. The questions are already there. So all you're doing is greeting people. But we want this to be a downtown event so that it will enhance our downtown community. People can come into the stores, hopefully not make too much of a ruckus and buy a ticket and answer a question and get on their way. But again, raffle prices would be great. Possibly, I don't know, there may be somebody in this club who could donate a car. But if not, we're really willing to take anything and everything. So there'll be more information later, but it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be a relaxed, easy kind of thing as opposed to the track meet, which is also fun, but it's all day. Thank you.
Hi, Daniela Avila. Today I'm here to talk about Porch Fest coordination. I hear that there's maybe some concerns or lots of questions. Just know that things are all happening on the back end. I'm spinning 1,000 plates. If you have a question about something, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. Most everything that people have come at me with, we are already working on, so don't panic, okay? I would say that we will have a update meeting for the oversight committee next Thursday after this meeting, about an hour. If you want to stay and hear more about the progress or where we're at or what's happening, I'm happy to talk about that. And then secondarily, we need somebody with golf carts because the agency that we rented them from in the past is closed. So if you, my hope is that we could connect with the Active Club because I know they have access to those and radios. So if someone has access to the Active Club and wants to connect me, I would love that. If not, we're gonna have to go out maybe to Medford to rent those and that will be expensive. So let me know if you can connect me.
How many do you need?
At least 2. I think we've had
I have
2
one.
in the past.
Oh.
Okay, that would be great. Let's talk. Okay. Or if you wanna just let me. Just come on, Jason. Great. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, I'm Patrice with the Food Bank and I'm here to make an announcement of one of my favorite things that we do each year, and it's our Hunger Hero Awards. The nomination forms are now out on our website. And what we're always looking for are people in the community that are doing great things that we don't always know about. And so anybody in the community can nominate an individual, a group, a business, anybody who's helping the community with either hunger or housing or anywhere that falls under the purview of what we are about. So I will send Kelly a link because she's already got a bunch of people, but it's on our website and it's Hunger Hero Awards. There's a bunch of questions. Steve Rowe and Doug Walker and a couple other people are always on the committee that help us choose for the different categories. And we pick somebody for an individual, a group, a kid. So it's really fun. And then we present at our annual fundraiser called Shining a Light on Hunger. Thank you.
And so, I'm Tommy and, I'm talking about the grants. And I talked about it before last time, but it's come to my attention that you may not all know what I'm talking about. So, the, shoes that fit, which Jody does, and, we did the Foundry Village building. And then the gardening of it and everything, a lot of that is funded with matching dollars from our district. And we are pretty successful in turning in all of our stuff. And so the club has to have $2,000 to match with the district's $2,000 for each project. So if you have a project in mind, I'd like it if you talk to me. We have to have these in the very near future. And then we'll fine tune them and the club will decide which one to fund if we can't do all. So if you have any questions, I'll have paperwork for you. Thank you.
And that is a great program, because we do have and have done some really great things that kind of started with the libraries. I mean, just a lot of those projects that come from district grants, that somebody had an idea and we put it together and got matching funds and made it happen. So it's a great creative way to think, oh, I've always wanted to do this. I think I was just out at I'm taking line dancing, speaking of line dancing at the senior center on Tuesdays. And we made the tranquility garden in the back. And every time I go and do my line dancing, I get to go look over the tranquility garden that our club sponsored. And that was Jamie's idea to put together. And so we put that together through grants. So it's done some great things. So great announcements. Now it's time and we're ready to move on with our speaker. I'd like to take just a couple minutes to introduce him because I had the honor of working with Jason when I was a city council person. And I realized after reading the Navigator, and you should read the Navigator every week. Steve Rowe does such a great job of putting together the information about Jason, which I knew a lot of it, but it kind of reminded me. He even added the importance of clean water, since we all worldly go and try to get clean water happening, that we have it right here in our community and how important that is. But anyway, so I didn't realize that I was actually on the council when you became the head of the Public Works. But I can vaguely remember that because that was my very first year back in 2015. So he worked for 30 years for the water department. So he came in young, and of course he's still young, but he came in young and he worked himself up all the way to the top. And we always love those success stories when you see somebody who comes in from the bottom and works their way to the top and has done such an outstanding job. And to have the crown of that, of course, is to be able to put together a water treatment plan, which was very important. When I first got on council, that was probably one of my biggest battles was, do we need a water treatment plant? Do we not need a water treatment plant? And I'll tell you, that conversation went on at my dinner table for many years because I was a firm believer. The original one was built in 1930. And I do know at some point they talked about it being the longest running water treatment plant west of Mississippi River. So it's old. We have remodeled it twice, and those are both the weakest spots of our water treatment plant because adding on to a water treatment plant is not an easy thing. And there was a time when we even talked about elephant glue, or it was some sort of gorilla glue, because people say, no, we don't want to pay that kind of money for it, so let's just glue it back together. And so we stopped moving forward because so many people were afraid. It did research on element glue, and it says, well, it's an upcoming technology, but it's never been used before in a water treatment plant. And it was just like, and I'm not going to be the first one to try it. So we finally moved on, moved with it. Now, if you go across the parkway, you can see that it is indeed in flux. It is happening for real. It's been a long process, but it's actually named after Jason Canady. So that's something that he will be his legacy forever. So without further ado, I'm going to have Jason come up, talk to us about the Public Works program here in Grants Pass, and give us an update on the work plan. Thank you.
Trying to relax. Hoping to move off to the side so I can still glance at my slides periodically. Thank you, Valerie, Counselor Lovelace. Always be Counselor Lovelace for me. That's beyond flattering. That I have spent 30 years working for the city of Grants Pass, and I've loved nearly every minute of it. Yes. If anybody tells you they loved every minute of every job they've ever had, they're probably fibbing to you. Everybody has a bad day, but almost by and large, every day I come to work at the city of Grants Pass is a great day. So I want to talk a little bit about public works in general. We're going to talk about the water plant at the end and kind of give you an update of the status of the project, including the final amount of financing. But I wanted to talk, I'm coming back to you because I obviously we can't get too far away.
We tested it.
We're gonna give you the nod. Gonna turn it back on. There we go. All right. I want to talk about public works in general. So public works includes all of the things that you normally think of: transportation, water, wastewater, stormwater. But we also include the engineering division, our fleet division, our facilities division, and our GIS and public works administration. All of those are key components of keeping public works operational. We're comprised of more than 64 people, including 13,000 hours of part-time temporary help, especially during the summer hours where we have so much more workload due to all of the shrubs growing like crazy and all the extra work that there is to do. Kind of a look at how we're put together. I work directly under the city manager who works for the city council. And under me, we have all of those divisions, including an assistant director, Wade Elliott, who is amazing and takes care of all of our capital and engineering. He is great at that. I couldn't do my job without him, as well as stormwater, which we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about. So water treatment, everybody, we're gonna start at the very beginning of where Public Works comes in. We take the water out of the Rogue River. What we don't think about though is all the work that those men and women do day in and day out to make sure that we treat that water and make sure that it's safe and complies with EPA and Oregon Health Authority rules and get that off to your house. They're also responsible for generating the consumer competence report. We are required annually to publish a document of all of the testing that we've done on anything that's tested positive in your drinking water. And by and large, our water is super clean. We do have a few positive tests. Lead and copper is one, but they're always under the threshold of what's dangerous. So that's good to know, but that's why we publish those documents and they're able to be delivered to your house. We do publish it online now, but if you request one, we'll mail it directly to you. They also make sure when we treat the water, there is a certain portion of wastewater that's left over after we backwash our filters. It's basically clean water, but we have to discharge that water back to Skunk Creek and then to the Rogue River. And so we have a permit and we have to ensure that that water is safe to go back to the river. They also make sure that we file all our water use reports with Water Resources Division. So what's the one thing you hear in Oregon all the time? Water rights, water rights, water rights. It is probably one of the most important things that we do is to keep up the water rights for Grants Pass. We hold quite a volume of water rights on the Rogue River. You will never get another water right on the Rogue River today. It can't be done. So we have to fight really hard to keep those for the future. And then also monitor all aspects of the construction of the replacement project. That falls to Adam. He is our superintendent currently and does an amazing job. Oh, keep jumping. Good. Thank you. She said she was very good at this and intuitive, and I'm going to quit looking. You just see your thing. So our water distribution, they are the people that you know in the water department. The treatment plant people, they're hidden behind a fence and they're in the building. These are the men and women who are out on the street taking care of the customer service. They're at your meter, making sure that the meters are working correctly. When you have a dirty water complaint, these are the folks that are coming out to take a look at that. They also ensure that we have adequate system-wide storage. They're making sure that we're putting reservoirs in the right place at the right time to support the system operation. They administer our backflow prevention program. This is one of those things that people don't think about. If you have a residential customer account, you pay, I think it's $1 or $2 a month fee for that backflow device, and then we come out and test it for you every year. That is probably the single largest and cheapest program that we operate that keeps the water system safe. It prevents contaminants from working their way backwards from somebody's house into the water system. They respond to all of our customer service issues. They perform the connections to the live system. So if you put in a new water system or you're building a new house and you want a new connection, you can't just hire a contractor to come out and make that connection. All of our personnel are highly trained. They're licensed by the state of Oregon, and they have to do that job in strict accordance with all of the rules. So if it is a new subdivision, however, and we have not taken over that system, then a contractor can make all those connections, and then we do all of our testing and take it over. And once we take it over, only city personnel can do that. They also do our flushing and valve exercising. That's all for water quality and making sure that the system is operational. And then manage our new in-house meter reading program. You may not realize it, but we have never read meters in the city of Grants Pass since the early 80s. It's been contracted out, and we had a great relationship with a contracting firm. And then in the last couple of years, they started struggling to bring on good help. And so we had a lot of errors. So we put it back out to bid, and we received one bid from a company to come read our meters at 4 times the cost of what we had been previously paying for it. And so at that time, we elected to bring that service in-house, and that was no easy task. We have gone from never reading a meter, and I mean, you'd read one, but not 12,500 meters in a month. It was a huge lift. The people, Kimberly Gasperson in our billing department, Rod Vineyard, Craig Kunert in our distribution group, and the 2 new staff members that we brought on did an amazing job, and we didn't miss a month's billing. Couple of errors, but we actually less errors than our contract one that had been giving us. It was an incredible lift. So we've treated the water, we've distributed it, it's gone through the meter into your house, you've used that water, and now it goes out of your house in wastewater and into our wastewater collection system. That collection system is there to collect all the wastewater across the entire city. The collection group works to minimize infiltration and inflow, I&I, we talk about it a lot. Old pipes are leaky. And the technology that they used to put them together back in the day, they just butt them up to each other. Not a lot of gasketing, groundwater enters in, wastewater leaks out, not a great situation. But the reason that it's so important, our wastewater treatment plant is only designed to handle a certain amount of flow. And when it rains, the groundwater comes up and all that groundwater goes into our sewer pipes. That water has to go through the treatment plant at the water restoration plant. And to build enough capacity to handle all that rainwater is millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so we work really hard to go out and seal up inflow and infiltration throughout the city. As an example, a normal summertime flow for the wastewater treatment plant is about 3.5 to 4 million gallons per day. In a big rain event, it goes up to nearly 30 million gallons per day, and that's all groundwater that's coming up and infiltrating into the pipes. It's a huge issue, huge issue. And even during those conditions, if that 30 MGD causes us to overflow, even though logically you can say that's all rainwater, it is still wastewater and it is a violation of our discharge permit. So it's a big deal. They also are cleaning all of the entire system, and that's miles and miles of pipe every 5 years, and TVing it every 15 to 20%, so roughly every 10 years. And responding to sewer blockages within an hour. This is really a big deal. Any blockages, we got to get out there and get it cleared up. Going to the wastewater treatment plant, same thing as upstream, where the men and women are behind the fence. You'll never see them, and that's that they're doing their jobs correctly. But they operate and maintain the water restoration plant to ensure that that thing is up 24/7, 365. You cannot shut it off because the wastewater in Grants Pass doesn't stop flowing. You can shut off the water plant for a while because we've got reservoirs and stored water, but the wastewater treatment plant, you cannot shut it off without that wastewater going directly to the Rogue River. They ensure that sewer overflows don't occur, and then they maintain our NPDES permit. That's the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit. They do discharge directly to the Rogue River, and I can tell you that oftentimes, certain times of the year, the water coming out of the wastewater plant is cleaner than what's in the Rogue River. It has less E. coli because we disinfect that water with UV light before it hits the river. They also administer an industrial pretreatment program, and that's to ensure that businesses who are discharging into the wastewater system are not discharging hazardous materials into the wastewater plant. There are no more regulated businesses in Grants Pass, but we still have to monitor them all and ensure that that keeps it safe. Because if they discharge hazardous chemicals, it cause the whole biological process at the wastewater plant to fail. It's just like your water treatment is very chemically oriented in that you are killing biology. At the wastewater plant, you need to foster biology at every step. And so when you get a chemical that comes in inadvertently, it's just like when you get an upset tummy, but you get a big whole plant of upset tummy. It's really a bad deal. And then one of the hardest things they do is to be a good neighbor in Grants Pass, because the wastewater plant, when it was constructed, there was nothing out there. But you know, Grants Pass has grown. Same thing with the water plant. When you look at the photos of 1930, you can't see a house anywhere near it. The wastewater plant was the same thing, but now it is built up with houses on every side. And you now have this wastewater treatment plant in the middle of some pretty high-end development as well. And so it is a challenge for us to be a good neighbor when occasionally, and I don't know if you know this, wastewater plants tend to stink sometimes. And so they have to work extra hard. Moving to our streets division, this group takes care of all of our signage and surface transportation. They do a lot of crack sealing, and what that is you see those little curly lines going down the road that look like they're random, and that's actually covering a crack with same material as asphalt, essentially. And the reason that that's so important is that prevents water from seeping down through the road, getting into the road base, causing the road base to fail, which then makes the surface of the road fail even quicker. So big important program for us. And then also maximizing our overlay dollars. Transportation is probably one of our underfunded programs. We get most of our money through gas tax through the state of Oregon, with just a small percentage provided by a transportation fee. And roads are very, very, very expensive to build, very expensive. Stormwater division is our newest division. And it used to be that stormwater was just kind of along with our street division, because streets and stormwater kind of go together. Stormwater is treated almost the same as wastewater now in the state. Has to be clean, it has to be monitored, before it is discharged. So it is a very big challenge. We implemented a stormwater utility, I want to say 5 years ago. And it's now fully fledged. We're in our second permit compliance year where we have an MS4, what's called an MS4 Phase 2 permit. And that stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Permit. And we are reporting on it just like what we do for the wastewater treatment plant. Our engineering group, these are 3 folks who take care of every capital project that you see going around the city. They are out there reviewing the plans. They are working alongside the contractors and the developers, and they are making sure that all of the infrastructure that gets installed in the city of Grants Pass meets Grants Pass standards. That's very, very important. We do not want to accept infrastructure, say from a subdivision that didn't meet standards and is going to fail, because that costs all of us money later when the city has to come back and repair that. So these are very important people to the city. And I'm gonna go really fast because I know you guys have a limit on my time, and I could talk to you all for hours and hours, and I'm gonna keep going. Fleet and vehicle maintenance, you don't think about this, but the city runs on transportation. We have well over 140 vehicles, just vehicles, let alone 101 pieces of specialized equipment that our fleet division maintains with 2 people. Those boys are busy, very busy. And it's so critical, and they maintain everything from a standard 1/2-ton pickup to man, I don't even know how much it weighs, ladder truck from the fire apparatus. I mean, it's everything under the sun. Our ladder trucks and all of our fire apparatus take very specialized training. So it's not like you're gonna find a mechanic in a corner garage that can work on them. But it's really amazing what they do. We worked really hard over the last 5 years to maximize vehicle life cycle costs. What we found is that there is this diminishing return. You want to sell it a little bit before you start dumping money into it, while the resale value is still high enough to be able to then afford the next vehicle. So we've been working on that really hard the last few years. And then facilities and property management. I cannot understate, we brought on a gentleman, Guy Canova, in the last, I want to say 7 years. He really turned this division around for us. One of the things, the city does audits on its departments pretty regularly. One of the last ones we did was on our facilities and property management division. And one of the things that they identified is that we weren't reinvesting enough in our physical facilities. And as you well know, just like your house, if you don't take care of your house, you do reach a point where it's going to cost you more to keep that house up. And so we have made really dramatic changes in the area of facilities management to invest and reinvest in those facilities to ensure that the investment that we are all making as citizens is maintained in those buildings. Really grateful for all of the work that those folks have done for us. So let's talk about water plant, because that's kind of the big project. The original plan is, as Councilor Lovelace, or President Lovelace, that sounds better, isn't it? It's President Lovelace said, was constructed in 1931. Amazing, right? It is the oldest continually operated treatment plant in the state of Oregon. And it is still operated every day, every day. The original building, just the building shell, was $33,700 back in 1931. Oh, those were the days. We're gonna get to another price, and I know you're all gonna yell at me, and I apologize in advance, but it's a little more than that. And it was scheduled to be completed in 90 days. Which is probably part of the problem with the building today. And I cut out a lot of the photos of where the rebar is all failing, but just a couple of the nice photos from back then. It really is amazing. That hallway still looks identical to that. Those pipes are all still there. It is exactly the same inside as it is back then. So large portion of the plant is over 90 years old. The next piece was added in the 70 years of age, and then 60. And then the newest piece is only 40 years old. And so the discussion was, can we salvage all of this, right? We talked about it. It's called Elephant Armor. It was a product. She was very, very close. It was great. And it was a product that the manufacturer swore you could just smear on the exterior concrete and it made it stronger, which it did. However, it had chemicals in it that would not allow it to be in contact with drinking water. So that kind of got marked off, but we did have to send people back to the factory and meet with the manufacturers, and it was quite a deal. So I want to talk about the technology of the new treatment plant. Our existing treatment plant is called conventional treatment, where we have coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, then mixed media filters. It's made of sand and anthracite. Very old technology, works 100% of the time. Takes a lot of operator intervention to keep it just dialed right in. After a very long technology selection process, we actually are moving from conventional treatment to what's called membrane filtration. Think Life Straw. Life Straw is a membrane filtration technology. And what it is it is polymeric strands with very small pores that act as a physical barrier. What that means is a piece of dirt cannot go through the filter. A virus cannot go through the filter. All those things that we're trying to get out of the water, they physically are strained from the water. It is highly automated. This will allow the plant to operate unattended, which you cannot do with conventional treatment today. And while it has slightly lower initial capital costs, meaning it's cheaper to put in today, it will cost us a little bit more to operate year to year because it's a little bit more power intensive. But it was a better solution for the city. And I just want to show a chart there. We're in the ultrafiltration range, which means that we are removing everything down to viruses. The only thing the membranes cannot remove are kind of organic material, trihalomethanes and malevolent, monovalent. I was going to say malevolent, I'm going malevolent. That doesn't make sense at all. Anyway, it's a very positive process. We're really excited to get this up and running for the city. And that's what it should be looking like. That actual ramp that you're seeing up there is actually the parkway. So when you're driving by, that's what you should be seeing when it gets all constructed. Okay. So value engineering. The project started, the costs were much higher than anybody anticipated. We went through an extensive value engineering process. We actually hired engineers that don't work for us. We went out and found other people not involved with the project. They did a thorough design review. Basically reviewed the designer's design. Came back with a bunch of solutions. We were able to reduce the project cost by about $15 million. It was about a 13% reduction. We were targeting more, but we just couldn't do it without sacrificing the ability to operate the plant or to make it easily expandable in the future. And both of those things we think were key components that needed to be kept in for the best value to the community. Go ahead. So that's the slide. I hope I made it small enough that y'all can't read it. But the final price tag is $124,830,000. And that is the final price tag. In this, there's still quite a bit of the contractors carrying a fair amount of contingencies because we're working underground. We still don't know a few things. Also, there's some of the costs for, that they're taking in, oh, this is going to cost us more. Well, they'll take it out of that contingency so that we don't have to come back and make that 124 go up. So there will be a little bit of leftover. We're hoping when it's done. That is the goal. The project now is well underway. Back up, sorry. It is well underway. However, we're not sure where we're going to land up, but time-wise, we'll get to that at the end. Go ahead. So where are we at financing-wise? Big deal, September 2023, we were notified that we were the recipient of a $50 million grant through BRIC, which is Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities. And then we spent the next almost 2 full years working with FEMA and Oregon Emergency Management towards completing that grant before, in April of 2025, we were notified that the entire program was canceled before that money was awarded to the city of Grants Pass. Needless to say, we were crushed. It was a hard blow. However, the city council, I believe including Councilor Lovelace, took some pretty bold steps in 2018 to increase the utility rates to support the debt. They did that early enough, which allowed us to set away money in excess of what we thought we would need. Well, that excess then is the backfill for the BRIC grant. It's all been going towards that project. It still will be going towards that project, but we were able to save enough money that we're now able to offset the loss of that grant, which was pretty incredible. We had to do one additional rate increase in September of 2023, which was 3 years of 1% increase. And it wasn't so that we could make the debt service payments. It was simply so that we could maintain the coverage ratios required by the lending agencies. They say that you have to have revenue in excess of 1.25 and all this fun stuff. All you bankers probably know all this. I am learning. But we were able to get there. And so it did work out really well. And the other thing I want to thank is the state of Oregon and Business Oregon. We have received, I want to say it's about $15 million in loans, with about a third of that forgiven. And all of those loans are at 1% interest rate. Those also have been key in getting the project completed. So last project status, the groundbreaking ceremony was held in July of 2025. The contractor is busy working. They have about 60 people now mobilized on site working every day. We are scheduled to be completed in 2028 and online. Testing is supposed to start in late 2027. And then the final financing package, our bond rating was received last week, or this week rather. And the bond sale should be complete by April 22nd, and that's for 65 million, which is the remaining portion of the financing. Now, the wrinkle that went out to council this week also is that we have just been notified by Oregon Emergency Management that BRIC is back, and they're going to put us back into the review queue. And I'm rolling my eyes, probably more externally than I intended, and I'm sorry for that. We will still pursue it actively, but we're not, I don't believe that we're gonna end up getting that grant. They've reinstated it, they're changing the criteria, which they're gonna evaluate the applications. Also, one of the criteria, the primary criteria, and why the project was delayed so much because of BRIC, was that if you broke ground, you became ineligible. Well, we've broken ground, so we're gonna still actively pursue it. We're gonna get anything we can from them, because I feel like they promised us something and they took it away. But we shouldn't wait, because we waited last time and it did not work out well for us. And with that, I would take any questions that any of y'all would have. Yeah.
Just be an easy one. What are you gonna do with the original water treatment plant? Can you repurpose it or have additional use for it?
A great question. We get that question a lot. You know, we did a charrette early in the process to try and see what the community would like to do with that. I suspect when we finally get moved out of it, we'll do that again. There are probably some limited opportunities you might be able to do. You know, you think McMinimans or something like that. It'd be tough to repurpose into anything too much because of all the plumbing that is actually inside there, but it could be done. The building is structurally, it's gonna come down in an earthquake, but if you're not worried about that, it's fine. Well, I mean, for a critical facility, you don't want that. Let me qualify that. If it's just a restaurant or some other purpose, it's probably okay. Let's see, there was one back over here too.
Oh, so you mentioned that the water comes out of the road.
Yep.
So much is being spoken about drought. What my question is, how does that affect you? And okay.
Yeah, quite a bit. We work pretty closely with water resources. As I talked about, we have quite a bit of excess water rights and permits. And so what that allows, even though they start putting restrictions on how much we can draw on each right, because of the cumulative amount, it doesn't ever put us in a position where we can't withdraw the water needed for Grants Pass, if that makes any sense. Even though we can only draw maybe 50% of this particular right, we still have 50% of this additional one, which makes up the difference. Do we still want to encourage people to conserve? 100%, because that's the right thing to do, but it shouldn't affect us for quite a few years into the future. Yes.
I didn't have a question.
Oh,
but I could work the mic around the room.
got it.
We're all well watered.
Yes.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. Thank you so much. Louis?
It's my understanding that there is a shortage of educated, credentialed staff in this field, high shortage.
How does the design of this building kind of play into that?
That's brilliant question, and thank you. And yes, there is. When our last collection superintendent left, it took us 2 years to replace him. The state requires very high levels of certification for these facilities. And as a result, there are very limited number of people with those certifications. And grants pass doesn't draw them. We don't have salaries that are gonna draw them here like the Portland metro area. The people that are here have to be here. What we try to do is grow them from inside. But what this does is it doesn't require quite as skilled level of operator. We'll need one that's more technically savvy, but not as highly certified. And so we'll be able to balance that and draw people and hopefully grow them from inside. But very good question.
So if you can't draw those people from inside, what training? What do you recommend someone who's off to college soon? What should they study? Where do they come from?
You know, we actually hire them right out of high school. Train them all on the job. But if you're looking for it, there are several programs out there that are available. Any of the sciences, very much important. A little bit of the math, science, English. You know, get those basics. You could even get a transfer degree and be very well positioned to work in the water and the wastewater industry. Very well positioned.
So my dad lived in Eugene and he was complaining about his water bill and then I pulled out mine. And so how does our water bill compare to other comparable cities?
Oh boy, that was a trip. That was a quick one. I can tell you we are more expensive than the Medford Water Commission that you were just reading about, who just implemented it. It was in the Daily Courier, I want to say on the weekend, maybe, that implemented a 25% rate increase. But we're lower than Portland Metro by quite a margin. When we look around Medford, Phoenix, and Ashland, we're about equal, maybe a little bit higher. But not, Medford Water their forefathers were brilliant. Years and years and years ago, they found Big Butte Springs. They piped that water all the way from Butte Falls into the city of Medford. They get 20 million gallons of water every day with no treatment, no additional work. It just gravity flows into the system. So that's allowed them to keep their costs incredibly low. They skew the state average. Every year, everybody gets angry at Medford Water Commission. Because then everybody wants us to compare, well, what Medford's water is so cheap? Well, yeah, they don't have to do anything. As soon as you really have to pull out and treat it, costs start to go out. Yeah, but we're right, we're not on the bottom and we're not near the top, but we're in the middle and we're probably towards the top of the middle. Yeah, I have a chart for that too. I couldn't get into that.
Oh, have I seen charts on water rates? Oh, everyone, just listening to this gives you an idea of the fire hose as becoming a counselor and especially going through this whole process. And something that was mentioned in the Navigator, which is so true, it brought it all back about the master plans. What has changed in Jason's tenure is phenomenal. And he's done a phenomenal job of building master plans and going out and having things set up preventatively and for the future so that we can know what roads next are most needed and that sort of thing. So I can't not tell you from my being involved from the very bottom and doing those rate hikes and all of that. And yes, I was always angry at Medford because they get fresh water and they don't have to have all the reservoirs that we do. They don't have to pump things up like we have to pump things up. So there's a lot of reasons that we do have more expense. Anyway, thank you so much, Jason. And I cannot, like I said, cannot tell you how proud I am of our city of class and what they have done and what they're doing. And with that, without further ado, we have our Sergeant of Arms. Amy.
Talk about drinking out of a fire hose, right? Okay, hi, everybody. Thank you, Jason. That was fabulous and felt like we should have had books to look up definitions of words. Excuse me. I was going to tell you a story about the Maori tribe in New Zealand and how impressive and inspiring they are, but in light of time, The story of Maori tribe is kind of the gem or the germ of what I'd like as our theme today, as we think about happy books. Think about things that are have happened in your life, your family, your traditions, the organizations you're involved with, the things that you do that matter to you that mean connection to you. One of the things Don and Steve Welsh got Fritz and I into the Vermont bike travel world a few years ago, and we started traveling all over the world, and we realized how much we learned from other cultures about how to connect with one another. And sometimes we forget how many ways we have it right here in our own community. The most recent trip was to New Zealand, and it was the first time that we've been in an area where we could see the indigenous cultures and experience them. One of our guides was part of the Maori tribe, and he talked with us about what they do. He taught us, teach all of you how to say hello in Maori. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Everybody say kia ora. The way I remember that is it's how you ask what time it is in Spanish. Anyway, and so he helped us understand a lot of things about the tribe. One of the things was the green stone. This is the design of this necklace is representation of connectedness, unity, and the importance of family and friends to the health of our community. At one of our socials, Don and I will do a demonstration on how they greet one another, because it's pretty amazing, and it includes nose to nose, forehead to forehead contact and breathing one another's essence. So it's quite impressive. So talk about connection. Again, at a social, definitely have this maybe after this first or second beverage. So as you think about where you've traveled, what you do, what your family traditions are, what are the things that inspire you? I'm going to start and say one of the things that inspires me is Dawn, because she's a good friend of mine, and she and Steve have helped Fritz and I connect to this community and many communities all over the world. And it just happens to be her birthday today. So I'm throwing in $20 to start off in honor both of Dawn and the representation of something in our community that needs connection. Who wants to start?
I jumped right in because I heard Dan start to sing the happy birthday song, and you don't know, in our club, we don't like that. And so you have to pay money. So I have $20. But anyway, $20 to not sing the happy birthday song. But I'm also, my thing is art, and I can't explain where that came from exactly, but I want to just give everybody an update on the utility boxes in that project that we've been working on. And it's not a club project, but the club chose to make a donation. And our own Tommy Drake over here, who was one of the very starters of the Committee on Public Art, matched that basically. So she is our largest donor to the project. And yeah, thank you, Tommy. $3,000. And I will also say I'm glad that Dan Converse is here, because the Friday Morning Club volunteered to give us $1,000 to help with that project. So thank you. And before Porch Fest, we should have 10 more utility boxes up. And they, as community art, really cheer people up. We've had at least 25 compliments on the new one at Savage and 7th, which is the sunflower. So thank you. And I want to say, Jason, thank you. I don't really understood anything that you said, but you strike me as a very competent person. And I'm super, super happy to have clean water. Who's next?
That was a lot of bucks there. Hope you were counting that, girl.
I have happy bucks for my husband here, Lutz Kramer, for all the amazing travels that we've taken together, including living in Taiwan for a couple of years. Which was amazing, talk about connecting to other cultures, and we've made so many incredible friends who may come this summer. I hope they do. Taiwanese friends, and, our trip to Cuba sounds so much like what, New Zealand might have been like for you guys. What an incredible trip, and I just want to say thank you for being my travel partner and opening this world up to me.
All right, way to go, Luce. Okay, who else has happy dollars?
I have several, and to talk about connection. Number one, as a school teacher, you connected with kids and families. And so I had this amazing connection having taught for 25 years at Lincoln and 5 years in Rogue River. So, and in Link. So that was a true connection. Then when I stopped and had all that energy, didn't know what to do with it, and went to the city council, that opened up a whole nother world for me of connections in the community. And I can't tell you how valuable that has been, and then here too, is because it's like, and you realize how important networking is and how valuable it is, because it's like you can always kind of find somebody to help somebody else out. So I feel I have been truly blessed. And of course, there's my family and my children, grandchildren who surprised me and decided to come down here for spring break, since I couldn't go up there because I had too many commitments. So they surprised me and came down to visit me here in Grants Pass. And like I said, they are my travel partners, because my husband can't travel, but my children always keep me in mind when they build. So every year they make mom travel events for us. So all that's very important. So I have many happy bucks for that.
Well, when I think of connecting and community and things, I think a lot about music. And so, Rogue Valley Symphony, I've been a patron of for a long time. And I'm very sorry, Dan Converse has been so involved with the community concerts, and the last community concert after 80 years is going to be next month. What's that? April 21st. And I have another commitment, but anyway, I'm also looking at John Salisbury, because we played clarinet together in middle school and high school, and it was.
Sorry, but I have to interject that Dan and I are playing the clarinet together in the Rogue Community College band, and the spring term starts on Monday. So come on.
Well, I played clarinet for 13 years, but it's been like 50 years since I played it, so. But I went to my first road community concert, or concert band concert just this month, and was so surprised to see you both there. And other people that I know, but music has been an important part of the connectivity and community and networking. I always see people there, and it's been an important part of my life.
If just real quickly, I want to tag on to this, because Val mentioned talking about teaching, and I have to tell you, and this also goes with what you're saying, and I know we're running out of time, but I taught music to children for so many years. And one of my reasons for teaching them about people like Kiri Tekenoa, and Deb, if you don't know who that is, she's an opera singer from New Zealand. Not only did they get to hear her, and I'm just using that as an example, but they also got to hear tribal music from the Maori and how their costumes were made and so on. Why did I do that? Not only did it expand their horizons, but it caused people, kids, to say, I want to see these places. I want to do this later.
Hi, I'm just visiting, but I've got happy bucks. I don't have enough bucks. There's not enough bucks in the whole world to express how happy I am just to be in Grants Pass. I landed here in 1979. Grew up in an environment where we moved a lot. Okay, and I got to raise my kids in one wonderful community, and I love this community so much. I would never live anywhere else. I just want to say that I'm so grateful to be here, be part of it.
Thanks, everybody. Put your money in the little bowl, and if you didn't get a chance to share your story.
I have one card up here and that's it. Did somebody draw the card already and just put one card here?
That's my.
Oh, that's your card. Oh, she just wants to be a winner. I get it. There's not a same card down here. And I want Jason to pick our winning card. I really hope that I don't.
Here, I got a card.
Okay, here we go. All right, well, yeah, we have cards, we have to have Jason pick our magic card, our winning card. And it's, look at those right over there, that's, so we want to pick.
Alright, open it
Here,
over.
three of diamonds. Three. Oh, no, wait, we got. Oh, that's fine. And $6. So, yay, so. Okay, and that's what we do, we turn into Kitty, and I thank you very much for that, Tom. All right, well, thank you for being here, I'll keep it short and sweet. March is Water and Sanitation Month, and so that is one of the reasons that Jason's here, and I'm sure many of you, I got to learn that, just join city council, if you don't have anything to do, and you will learn these things, it's amazing what you learn. But here's my quote for the day. Infrastructure is the backbone of economic growth. It improves access to basic services such as clean water and electricity. It creates jobs and it boosts business, which is what we're all about. That's from Alok Sharma. And then a short and sweet from Audrey Hepburn. Water is life and clean water means health. Thank you for being here. We will see you next Thursday for a very special benefit for Jody McDonald. We're having her retirement party next Thursday. So have a great week.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
I thought that's what I thought about. Sat there, I was almost one.
I was there, but I was all in the back.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then I was also.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. The engineers, right? For the project, I was just like, justice. Oh, I know.
Two good couples. Is there something that I gotta get back to? Yeah.
It was really cool. That thing to do that, I didn't have to do it. So cool.
Thank you.